What's the real story behind your battalion's most legendary NCO getting relieved? First Sergeant Vance. Everyone knew him. 22 years in the Army, 3 combat tours, chest full of medals. The kind of NCO who could fix any problem and make any mission succeed. Soldiers loved him because he actually cared. Would drive to your house at midnight if you had an emergency. Would fight command to get you the time off you needed. Would take the blame when things went wrong to protect his troops. Officers respected him because he got results. Our company had the highest retention rate on base, best PT scores, cleanest inspections, lowest disciplinary issues. Vance made it all look easy. Then came the investigation. Some private filed a complaint about missing equipment. Standard stuff. Happens all the time. Supply does an inventory, finds what's missing, moves on. But this time was different. The investigators found discrepancies going back 18 months. Night vision goggles, radios, cold weather gear, thousands of dollars worth of equipment just gone. Vance was responsible for all of it. As first sergeant, the property book fell under his authority. If gear was missing, he was accountable. I remember when they called him into the commander's office. Captain Dexter looked sick about it. Vance was his right hand. This was going to destroy both their careers. The investigation took 2 weeks. Turns out Vance had been signing out equipment without proper documentation, loaning gear to soldiers without going through official channels, breaking every supply regulation in the book. But here's the part nobody talks about. Every single piece of missing equipment, it went to soldiers who needed it. Private Ellis, whose car broke down and he couldn't afford repairs. Vance loaned him tools from the supply room, told him to return them when he was done. Ellis forgot, got discharged 6 months later, never returned the tools. Specialist Norton, going through a divorce, living in his car during winter. Vance gave him a cold weather sleeping bag and camping stove. Told him it was surplus gear being thrown out anyway. It wasn't. It was active inventory. Sergeant Quinn, whose house burned down with his family inside, lost everything including his kids' school supplies. Vance handed him a duffel bag full of notebooks, pens, backpacks, all technically military property that Vance had requisitioned for training purposes. 18 months of Vance bending rules to help soldiers in crisis, never asking for anything back, never documenting it properly, just doing what he thought was right. The Army didn't care about his intentions. Missing equipment is missing equipment. Regulations are regulations. They relieved him immediately. Started paperwork for an Article 15, potential reduction in rank, maybe even discharge. Our entire company was furious. We knew Vance hadn't stolen anything, hadn't sold gear on the black market. He'd just helped people the only way he knew how. Private Kelso started a petition, got 300 signatures from soldiers Vance had helped over the years. Didn't matter. Command said this wasn't about popularity, it was about accountability. That's when something unexpected happened. Ellis came back to base. He'd been out of the Army for 4 months, heard about the investigation through the veteran grapevine, showed up at the commander's office with 2 boxes of tools, every single item he'd borrowed, drove 6 hours from his new job in Tennessee just to return them. I screwed up, he told Captain Dexter. First Sergeant Vance helped me when I had nothing. I should have returned this stuff immediately. This is my fault, not his. Norton did the same thing, returned the sleeping bag and stove. Quinn brought back the school supplies, replaced what his kids had used. One by one, soldiers came forward, some still active duty, some veterans who'd moved on, all of them returning equipment or offering to pay for what they couldn't return. Within a week, the property book was almost balanced. Still short a few items, but not thousands of dollars worth. Maybe $200 of truly lost gear. The investigators were confused. They'd never seen anything like it. An entire network of soldiers covering for their first sergeant. Captain Dexter went to the battalion commander, showed him the returned equipment, showed him the statements from soldiers explaining what Vance had done. Sir, First Sergeant Vance violated regulations, no question, but he did it for the right reasons. These soldiers came back to protect him because they know he'd do the same for them. The battalion commander was old school, 30 years in the Army. You could tell he was torn between following regulations and recognizing what Vance represented. He made his decision. Vance was officially relieved as first sergeant, got an Article 15, lost a rank, but he wasn't discharged. They moved him to a training battalion, put him in charge of new soldiers coming out of basic training. The commander's statement said, First Sergeant Vance showed poor judgment and property accountability. However, his leadership and care for soldiers is exactly what this Army needs. He will serve where he can do the most good. Vance retired 2 years later as a master sergeant. At his ceremony, over 200 soldiers showed up. Some had driven from different states. Ellis gave a speech. This man taught me that the Army takes care of its own, not because of regulations or paperwork, but because it's the right thing to do. Captain Dexter got promoted to major. First thing he did was rewrite the company's emergency loan policy, created an official system for soldiers to borrow equipment during personal crises. All documented, all tracked, all legal. They named it the Vance Protocol. Last I heard, Vance works for a nonprofit helping homeless veterans, still breaking rules when he thinks it's right, still helping people who need it most.